Test 1 2 1 2.
manager page, ready to begin? Okay. Good evening. I call this June 27th meeting of the Morrisville Town Council to order. Thank you to those watching via live stream and those who are watching a recording of this meeting. On June 30th, a video of this meeting will be uploaded to www.townofmorrisville.org/government/live-video. Councilmember Scroggins Johnson will not be attending tonight. Tonight's Sergeant at Arms, Senior Officer Carl Rodriguez, has served as a police officer for 25 years, with the last 16 years being with the town of Morrisville. He is assigned to the K-9 unit with his K-9 partner, Arco. He is also a veteran of the U.S. Army and served 7 years as a paratrooper with the 82nd Airborne Division. We appreciate him being with us here this evening. Tonight's invocation will be delivered by Councilmember Rao.
Thank you, Mayor. Please bow our heads. Excuse me. Today we gather this evening in the All-America city of Morrisville, one of the most diverse and innovative cities in the state and country. We pray that you give the council, the engaged residents of our town, and our world-class staff the strength and wisdom to continue to lead our town to limitless heights. We pray for any family who has lost a loved one due to an illness or recent tragedy, and for any victim of the tragic gun violence taking place in our nation. We pray that you keep our soldiers safe wherever they may be, and are eternally grateful for those brave heroes who have paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. As we prepare for July 4th celebrations, let us be ever mindful of how sacred our freedom is, and that it exists for every American, regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation. The words in our Constitution, "We the people," applies to all of us. We were reminded of this very fact this month as we celebrated Juneteenth and Pride Month with our LGBTQ community. Finally, during these turbulent and divisive times, we pray for unity, for tenderness, for belonging and justice and freedom, for solidarity and bountiful compassion, that the world may know who we are by the way we love one another, and are always reminded that our limitless love heals us all. Amen.
Amen. If you are able, please stand as we join in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we adopt tonight's agenda, I'd like to recognize Town Manager Page for a possible addition.
Thank you, Mayor. Staff requests the addition of a consent item 6G related to the addition of July 12th as an official town council meeting for the opportunity to meet with Wake County Board of Commissioners on an affordable housing listening session.
Okay, thank you very much. In addition to that, before we adopt tonight's agenda, Town Council policy is to review and ensure there are no conflicts of interest or appearance of conflict of interest with any items on the agenda. Does anyone have anything they'd like to share at this time? Okay, I'd entertain a motion to entertain the adoption of the agenda with that one addition.
I make a motion that we adopt this evening's agenda with that one change.
Second.
I have a motion in 2 seconds. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries unanimously 6-0. We are now at the consent agenda.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes.
I'm getting a terrible feedback from your mic. Does anybody else hear that?
Are we getting a lot of feedback from my mic at this time?
Okay, just me then. Carry on.
Okay, thank you for bringing that to attention. Let's keep an eye on it. Item 6, consent agenda. Now with that additional item, there are 7 items on this evening's consent agenda. A resolution acknowledging NCGHSP grant requirements, a resolution authorizing the use of electronic advertisement for formal bid solicitation, the approval of 4 sets of May minutes, and an additional meeting date. Does anyone want to pull any of those items for discussion before adopting? Okay, is there a motion and a second to adopt the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that also carries unanimously 6-0. We are now at item 8, presentations. We have one presentation this evening, recognition of teachers and instructional assistants of the year. Martha Page, our town manager, will facilitate. Town manager.
Thank you, Mayor. We love Morrisville schools, and we are so grateful to those advocates and influences in our youth and children's lives. And it is our honor to be able to recognize the Wake County Public School System Teacher of the Year and Instructional Assistants of the Year for the elementary schools and our own Wake Early College at tonight's meeting. And we've invited them to come here, and some have been able to attend, and we're going to recognize them shortly. We're also very honored to have Wake County School Board Vice Chair Chris Haggerty and Cedric Williams here to join us. Mr. Haggerty, would you like to come up and make some comments first?
Thank you, Ken. All right. Thank you, Ms. Page. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. I'm proud. I'm very happy to be here again. This was something that I'm very excited about. We have 12 municipalities in Wake County, but I don't know any other municipality that comes out and has a special day just to show their appreciation for our teachers and our public school staff. So a special thank you to you all. A special thank you for Town Manager Page. This has been a wonderful initiative. I've really enjoyed working with you on it. I'm hopeful we'll see this again in the future. I'm looking over at Brandon over there, you busy type. But I hope this will turn into a tradition that the town continues to carry on. Really quickly, if you'll indulge me, just a quick moment. I do want to recognize our area superintendent for the Northwest area, Mr. Cedric Williams. Mr. Williams, if you'd stand. I would call Mr. Williams my boss, but that would actually probably lower his pay grade. So Mr. Williams does a wonderful job overseeing the schools in this area. And then, of course, while we have our wonderful teachers, our wonderful teaching assistants here from so many schools, we don't have all of them because after a full year of teaching, and many of these schools are year-round schools, when our teachers are taking time off to get married, one of them this year, another one with a long-delayed trip overseas, we're so blessed we have many of their principals, their administrators who are here to support them in their schools. So some of you know Mr. Burt Batten, who had been president, been principal at Pleasant Grove Elementary for so long, but now is back in Morrisville Elementary. And it's kind of bittersweet. We're here to say hello, but then also retiring Dr. Faye Jones, longtime principal at Carpenter Elementary. So again, I just want to say thank you all. I'm not going to take any more of your time. I do want to hear the proclamation and just thank you all for acknowledging the wonderful job our teachers and our instructional assistants do for Wake County and all of our students, but especially those here in Morrisville. Thank you.
All right, we're bureaucrats here, not educators. So now I'm going to tell you what we'd like you to do as we recognize you. As I call your name, and I'm going to call the names of the teachers and instructional assistants that are here first. If you'd come up, the mayor's going to present you a certificate, and I'd ask you to just stand up there as we call the other names. And then it's photo op time that we'd ask Mr. Haggerty and Mr. Williams to join council in that photo op, and we'll recognize the other teachers that could not be here as well. All right. Our first teacher of the year represents Carpenter Elementary, Cynthia Klaus. And again, thank you, Dr. Jones, for taking the time out of your schedule to be here to recognize her. Morrisville Elementary, Mr. Batten, if you could come up and accept the 2 certificates for your teachers. We have Ann Madden, who had originally indicated she was going to come, is gone back to school, postgraduate, and she had class tonight and could not miss. So that tells us how she teaches her profession. And Jane Ward, I believe, is out of the country, is the Instructional Assistant of the Year from Morrisville Elementary. Here. Right. From Parkside Elementary, Marion Escoto. Is Principal Hudson here? Okay. One of my memories is the groundbreaking of Parkside Elementary that wasn't here when I started my career with Morrisville. So if those teachers that were recognized could please come back up for some photo pictures. I know. Come on, Mr. Batten. And council, please join us. Thank you. Give her a hand. Recognizing our other teachers and instructional assistants of the year that could not be here, from Cedar Fork Elementary, Ariana Steffen is our teacher of the year, and Heba Gaber is the instructional assistant of the year. We've mentioned Morrisville Elementary. At Pleasant Grove Elementary, Kelly Sheehan is apparently getting married. And with our Wake Early College of Information and Biotechnology, Leroy Salazar. And I believe he was at one of our council meetings recently, and we appreciate them being here in Morrisville. So thank you. For those of you that are done for the summer, enjoy your summer. For those of you that have to go back to school, we appreciate year-round just as much. Thank you very much for coming tonight.
Okay, I think I turned this back on. It's working? Okay, great. There are 4 administrative reports tonight: a quarterly capital projects update, an intersection improvement study update, an energy audit results and opportunities for improvement report, and a disc golf update. Administrative reports are provided as information-only items unless council has any questions. Is there anyone who would like to, I'd like to recognize Councilmember Fender, please.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions on the project report update for Mark Spanoli. I warned him ahead of time, so.
She did, actually. Thank you so much.
Your name, your role, and your plans for the summer.
Yeah, busy. What can I do for you, Councilmember Fender?
Yeah, I just wanted to get a couple more details on 3 of the projects.
Okay.
The first, and mostly so that the public can hear as well. The first one with the Church Street Park amenity expansion and southern lot. I think we know that the main amenity expansion, that is, the goal is to finish that in July, correct?
That's correct.
And then what about what we're calling the southern lot? What's the goal for completion in that area?
So those are great questions. So the amenity expansion, which is on the existing Church Street property, park, that's actually under full construction. You can see the bleachers going up, and they will be ready on time. The south lot is happening in conjunction with that. So we are constructing the parking lot to a certain level, as well as the practice pitches. And that's in accordance with our agreement with Major League Cricket, and that will be also completed at the same time with the bleachers. So everything's being completed on time for the Major League Cricket events.
So the southern lot completion, will that only be the parking lot, or will that include the volleyball courts, and the basketball court?
So that's a good question. In order to make the deadlines, what we did was we broke up that project into 2 phases. So phase 1 for the construction side is just the parking lot and the practice pitches. Phase 2 is anticipated to be completed by the end of the calendar year, which will include the basketball courts, the volleyball courts, and the multi-sport court and the restroom facility.
Okay. All right, and then the next project I had questions on was the Church Street sidewalks.
Okay.
So I see it says estimated project completion, calendar year 2024. When do you guys begin construction on that project?
So based on our current schedule and some of the delays we've been having with the DOT regarding getting the design started, I would say we won't start construction until 2024. It won't be this calendar year. We are going to fill the gap on Church Street for the portion of sidewalk in front of Church Street Park in the upcoming months to accommodate that park construction. But the rest of Church Street sidewalk project will happen as part of the main project. That won't happen until 2024.
And do you know if you're gonna start on the section of Church Street that is south of McCrimmon or north of McCrimmon?
I don't know if we phased it at this point. Our major goal was just to try to get that missing piece in front of Church Street Park completed. That was kind of like let's get that done right away. The rest of the project, I don't think we've determined what the best phasing is for construction at this point.
Okay.
We are coordinating, obviously, with the DOT plans for McCrimmon and so forth. So we're working all that out.
All right. And then lastly, sticking with sidewalks, is the Lewis Stevens Drive sidewalk project. That one has estimated completion winter 2023.
Yeah, that's likely going to go into 2024 a little bit. We are trying to wrap up the second portion of the design that was delayed because of the development that was being undertaken by a private developer in the town of Cary, which sort of encroached on our right-of-way and some of the design features for the sidewalk. So the second portion of it is a little bit delayed on design. So the construction will likely go into 2024.
So is construction started on this one?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
When is it expected to start?
I would say towards the end of the calendar year, we'll start construction.
Okay. All right, that's all. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Okay. Councilmember Garamella, did you have something? No. Mayor Pro Tem Johnson?
So, yeah, Mark, but I'm on the next topic. I want to talk about
Intersection? Sure.
intersection improvement study. And again, unlike, I want to ask this question or make these comments because the public is concerned
Sure.
And want to make sure that their voice is heard. But unlike Councilmember Fender, I didn't give you a heads up. So.
That's okay.
But what I'm going to say is not going to be any different than what I've said before. And I want to focus on the intersection at Morrisville Parkway and Black Ridge.
Yes.
And I realize in this report, you talk about the fact that we're going through the big study on Morrisville Parkway. And even in the report, you talk about recommendations may differ based on this full study that won't be complete until next year in 2024.
Yes.
But the picture that's shown in this document, and every time we talk about this intersection, it shows as a limited functioning intersection. And I just want to make sure that we're, for sake of the public, that we're looking at all options
Yes.
at that intersection, that potentially there could be a traffic light, there could be other options in the future for that intersection. And we won't know that hopefully until the study is finished in 24.
That is correct. This figure that's shown here, E6, is from the previous study that we had done. So yeah, now we have a all-inclusive access management study for the entire corridor that's going to look at all the intersections, including this one, and come up with the final recommendations.
Okay.
So yeah, this is not necessarily the final option.
Okay, and part of that study, we're going to look at the, because my concern with this intersection is that there are hundreds of families that are in the Preston neighborhood that will have no ability to come out and make a left. they will
Understand.
have to make rights and then multiple kinds of U-turns. And so I want to make sure that is all going to be incorporated in the study as well, looking
Yes.
at that aspect of
That's
the-
correct. That's exactly why we embarked on the study. This original concept was really looking at it through a microscope lens, because we told them we just wanted them to look at the intersection and see if there was something they could come up with. We shortly after realized that it needed to be looked at more holistically across the entire corridor.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Just for the public. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's not the only place on that road where people might have to take rights and then do U-turns and things like that. Will the study, which is scheduled to be completed in June of 2024, so
Yes.
not that far off, include citizen input? Will the residents have an ability to, during the process, influence the recommendations?
Yes, there is going to be public input sessions as part of the study process.
Okay, wonderful. And one thing that I always look at is Davis Drive and Morrisville Parkway. Seems like that's one that it looks like it really could just use a right turn lane. So I don't want to necessarily have to wait until June 2024 to keep that moving forward. Because I
Yeah.
think no matter what happens, I think that's going to be part of the solution.
Agreed. We actually have been working with the town of Cary and the DOT on different partnerships because it's quite an expensive project and some of it is sort of in the town of Cary jurisdiction as well. The good thing about this management access study is it actually puts us on the Campo books and gives us an opportunity for some additional funding. So we're excited that could help us as well.
Yeah, because they're helping us
Sure.
in this stage. Okay. I don't see any other questions. Were there any other questions for any of the other admin reports? Seeing none. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you so much.
Spagnoli. Thanks for keeping it all moving.
Have a good evening.
And looking forward to more good news as we finish the southern lot. Okay, we are now at item 10, public address. Town Clerk Smith will now present any public comments received and acknowledge people in the room who may want to speak.
There were no public comments received, but we do have one individual sign up to give in-person comments. Mr. Superready Matteready.
Okay, sir, if you'll approach the microphone, your name and your residential address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak, please.
Good evening. Good evening, Morrisville. Respected town councils and town staff, my sincere thanks for giving me opportunity to speak about. So the public comment side, I have the 3 points. First thing is on my personal side, because I had got the email saying that I shouldn't use the parks. So why we running into this situation as a resident here? But first thing is I want to thanks for the staff that's been identifying that what is the residents having the issue in the town, because the town doesn't have the enough parking parks where the citizens can gather, or I can go take my kids and have a small gathering. There is no such things when you go to from the Davis Drive to the, unless until I need to go to the Morrisville Park area and come to the Church Street, there's so much traffic congestion. So I appreciate, but there are no instructions on the park, hey, you cannot use, because whether I don't know whether I can say it or not, because I'm considering for running to the Morrisville Town Council, I need to go into the public, I need to study what are the problems. I haven't yet filed that I'm running. So unless until I go to the public, study that, what is my, because I want to be the voice of the public. So that's where I went to the park, but there are no instruction whether I can use it or not. Where it is published, please help us for the residents, what we need to use, what we cannot use. It's our taxpayers' money. So, but I appreciate the staff for helping me to bring that attention. That's the one thing. So, and the second one is public side. On the Wexford area, we have been requesting for the pedestrian crossing lights. There is, thanks for not considering the kids. There are the school kids cross a lot of times to go to the food for the Harry Streeter area. Whereas when I can go to the Morrisville Park area, I could see the Gulf Courts crossing area. There is a traffic lights has been installed just for the 15 to 20 feet away. Thanks. At least they consider for the Gulf courts crossing the traffic light. But the public and the kids, they are not even considering. They are pushing onto the NCDOT. Thanks for town is representing such a leadership or the budget, whatever it is. I don't know how to convince that public lives are under the threat when you see the public traffic issues and crossing at the Wexford area. And the third point is, just 2 days back, I happened to notice that in the Davis Drive, there is no zebra crossing when it comes to, because the mother, small with the stroller, she's trying to cross from the left to the right. There is a townhomes they want to. There is no zebra crossing, and either they need to go to the other way to the like a Hyderabadi house, or they need to go to the. I don't know how she will cross with the baby. She was in the middle of the road. There is no sidewalks. Thanks for not considering as a high priority. Public life is under the very risky. Please consider these points as a high priority. Thank you for giving me an opportunity. Sorry if I missed out to tell my name. My name is Subba Reddy. 113 Elm Haven Way from the Wexford, Morrisville. Thank you once again.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone else signed up? Okay. Is there anyone here in the audience who would like to speak on any subject for 3 minutes? Okay. If you could please approach the microphone, your name and your residential address, and you'll have 3 minutes, please.
Hello, Town Council, Mayor, staff, and citizens of Morrisville. I'm Patty Chang of 304 Millet Drive. I reside in the Carpenter Park single-family homes community along the main corridor of Morrisville Carpenter Road. This neighborhood was established in 1998 as one of the first communities along Morrisville Carpenter Road. And at this date today, we still have many original homeowners who have lived there 25 years. And a lot of them are now retired and on fixed incomes. So, anytime you raise raise taxes by a penny or 3 cents or whatever, along with the county commissioner's 2.5-cent increase, so we get an increase every year for living in the town of Morrisville. It affects a lot of people who find this area hardly affordable each and every year. So back in 2012, I remember attending a public works session where citizens were encouraged to comment on the capital improvement projects being considered by town council and by staff. And there was a survey done. People wrote comments and provided suggestions and insights on what they thought was important to prioritize for Morrisville capital improvement projects. And we even had a town council member register his survey votes 13 times to make sure that the Aquatics and Fitness Center was well represented among survey results. So when you're looking at capital improvement projects, and it was all made under the guise of COVID with little input from citizens to know what is this airport road extension project really going to involve or entail. 2 years after the bond referendum, I have yet to see an engineering drawing showing whether the railroad tracks are going to go over Airport Boulevard or under Airport Boulevard. And if the road goes over the railroad tracks in Chapel Hill Road, that immediately means that the cost of the project will have to consider the cost of demolishing the Shell gas station at least in order to provide connector roads for the overpass that's going over the Chapel Hill Road. So those two major state roads will be connected. And for the fact that the Department of Transportation has not taken a lead on this, and we are constantly throwing Morrisville money from taxpayers at this project that doesn't even have an expected, total cost for project management. It's just amazing that you're going to continue raising taxes until you run out of money. So there's a lot of issues that need to be considered, especially what I call the $6 million playground in the Crabtree Creek floodplain. Is that a good use of public funds? I don't think so. In fact, anybody who studied engineering economic analysis as a second-year engineering student at NC State would tell you that that project has a very poor return on investment and is a poor use of public funds in the state of North Carolina. You know, in terms of observing the tree preservation ordinance, you're again going to cut down hundreds or thousands of trees in order to backfill the floodplain, which could potentially flood the tunnel under the railroad. So you really haven't considered a lot of factors in these projects that you're throwing millions of Morrisville tax dollars at.
Thank you for your input. Appreciate it. What? Okay. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to address this body for up to 3 minutes? Okay. Seeing none, thank you very much. We always appreciate the input from our residents. We have heard it. It'll be recorded, and our staff has also heard it. At this time, we will move on to the next item, which is item 11, action items. There are 2 action items on this evening's agenda: a proposed amendment of the zoning map for 900 and 1000 Perimeter Park Drive, and a resolution opposing House Bill 893, private commercial building inspection. Brittany Johnson, Planner 2, will facilitate the first item. Ms. Johnson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The applicant requests a conditional zoning map amendment for the parcels located at 900 and 1000 Perimeter Park Drive. The subject properties are outlined in red before you. The 2 parcels are a part of the overall East Ridge campus, a large research campus of common ownership. The properties are currently zoned corridor commercial, and the applicant is proposing to rezone to conditional office institutional to better match the rest of the campus. With that being said, the current land use is office and place of worship, and the proposed land use would be research lab. During the public hearing held for this item on June 13th, staff received a question concerning the proposed conditions related to payment in lieu of roadway construction. Staff generally supports the construction versus payment in lieu, and construction is being required more frequently in projects. The following contributing factors were considered in recommending PIL for this project. First, Airport Boulevard is on the state highway system. NCDOT has not developed the plans and details for the intersection, including the location and length of any turn or taper lanes. While the comprehensive transportation plan provides a cross-section for the corridor in general, specific details for NCDOT's widening and intersection details have not been determined. 2, 900 Perimeter Park has a frontage of approximately 280 linear feet, and 1000 Perimeter Park has a frontage of approximately 250 linear feet. This frontage represents a small portion of the roadway, and it will be more advantageous to collect PIL and install the roadway improvements along a greater portion of the aggregate properties, and to construct all legs of the intersection at once for consistency, connectivity, and overall safety of those traveling in the area. Additionally, when construction projects are constructed at different times, it increases the chances for error and limits the ability to modify designs during the construction process for unforeseen conditions. 3, constructing this small portion of the roadway will not increase the level of service and will increase the level of maintenance. 4, the town recently installed a sidewalk along the frontage of the subject properties. Staff is in favor of allowing these improvements to remain until a greater portion of Airport Boulevard can be installed once NCDOT has designed and defined the details for the intersection. Last, roadway construction would significantly impact the construction and occupancy timeline. These factors were considered in conjunction with the engineering and public works departments. With that being said, staff recommends approval of the requested zoning map amendment from corridor commercial to conditional office institutional for the following reasons. One, the proposed corridor conditional office institutional zoning district is compatible with the surrounding zoning districts. Two, the requested zoning map amendment would allow for development that is compatible with the development in the surrounding area, thereby resulting in a logical and orderly development pattern. Three, it provides a broad spectrum of local and regional employment that offers economic development opportunities. And four, the rezoning is consistent with the vision and goal of the land use plan of promoting fiscally responsible development by strategically managing and promoting development that is fiscally responsible and develops and reflects the needs of residents, local business owners, and employers. Additionally, this rezoning is logical as these two properties are a part of a larger research campus. This concludes my presentation. These are all the updates that I had based on the public hearing at the last meeting. Let me know if you have any questions, and the applicant is also present.
Okay. I'd like to recognize Councilmember Garamella, please.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I was not there last time. I talked about all the issues and looked at the tape. My one question is more for the staff in regards to that 150 PIL, that's a standard, but also I wanted to ask Michelle if, are we also factoring if there are any environmental issues that are part of it that we are not considering, and that 150 is purely construction costs. We had that issue with recently at International Drive. Are we amending our UDO to ensure that is also factored in? Because until it's done, we don't have the right to ask for funds.
Bless you.
Thank you, Councilmember Garamella. There is not a floodplain, wetland, any other environmental features in this area. But you did bring up a prior project where, yes, that was an issue, where there were environmental factors that definitely increased the cost beyond what was initially anticipated. In reviewing that case, we have adjusted some of our procedures. We're working more closely with the engineering department, making sure that those cost estimates that are submitted for construction are taking into account any environmental features moving forward, but there are none in this location.
And your name and role, real quick.
I'm sorry, Michelle Stiegel, Planning Director.
Thank you. Anything else, sir? Okay. Any other comments? Okay. I really appreciate staff digging in and giving more explanation of the PIL. I value getting things done when we're able. In this case, it doesn't seem like that's really feasible. So I appreciate you guys bringing that forth. I'm in support of this. If we could have someone make a motion right from this sheet, I think would probably be what staff is looking for. I'll recognize Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
Okay. I'll make this motion. I find the proposed zoning map amendment to be consistent with the town of Morrisville's comprehensive plan and in the public interest for the following reasons. A, the proposed conditional office institutional zoning district is compatible with surrounding zoning districts. B, the requested zoning map amendment would allow for development that is compatible with the developments in the surrounding area, thereby resulting in a logical and orderly development pattern. C, provides a broad spectrum of local and regional employment that offers economic development opportunities. D, the rezoning is consistent with the vision and goal of the land use plan of promoting fiscally responsible development by strategically managing and promoting development that is fiscally responsible and reflects the needs of residents, local business, and employers. And I hereby make a motion to approve ordinance 2023-192-0 of the Morrisville Town Council, approving a zoning map amendment for 900 and 1000 Perimeter Park Drive, properties located east of the intersection of Perimeter Park Drive and Airport Boulevard to the conditional office institutional zoning district REZ-22-0007.
A motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? That was a mouthful. Thank you very much. All those in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that carries unanimously 6-0. Thank you very much to the applicant. Thank you very much for staff. This is a big lift, so we appreciate you bringing it forth. Have a great day. Okay, our next item is item 11B. This is Aaron L. Hudson, Strategic Performance Manager, will facilitate this item for us.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Thank you for giving us just a few moments tonight. I'm going to pull up the resolution so you can view that while we discuss. So before you tonight, staff has proposed a resolution opposing House Bill 893, private commercial inspection. The full proposed bill language is provided in your agenda packet as attachment number 1. I'll be briefing the item along with Shandy Paget, your inspections director, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have at the end of our briefing. So when Town Council approved its legislative advocacy agenda for the 2023-2024 biennium last December, you identified 3 focus areas, and one of those was to preserve local development authority. As the town's legislative liaison, I regularly review and track proposed legislation, communicate with town staff and leadership, professional networks, peer communities, and yourselves to best understand any impacts to Morrisville and our surrounding areas. House Bill 893 was identified as concerning to local development authority, particularly local government inspections, for several reasons, which are outlined within your executive summary and resolution, and we'll use this briefing to provide some additional context and background. So in general, House Bill 893 would create a private commercial inspector, we'll refer to that as a PCI, where individuals who have demonstrated credentials can qualify to become a licensed commercial inspector. They can certify separately for particular trade credentials like building, electrical, fire, mechanical, and plumbing, as well as certify for certain building types or sizes of structures. Likely, the bill was also proposed to attract more individuals to the inspections field, which has experienced some recruitment challenges in recent years, and then it could provide a ready pool of PCIs for certain commercially permitted processes. Building code enforcement or inspections is the only statutorily required function of local government. We can outsource police, fire, sanitation, lots of other things, but local government is required by law to enforce the North Carolina Building Code. To that end, Morrisville inspection staff are responsible for obtaining specialized certifications in all trades, not just one, with a minimum of standard level 1. Many of them obtain standard level 3 certifications, authorizing them to inspect any job site, irrespective of size or occupancy type, and you can read that as commercial or residential. Local government has all the required elements for inspections and permitting in one place that House Bill 893 proposes to split and supplant with PCIs. So in my discussions with staff, vague language was one of their bigger concerns within the bill, and I'll explain that. So the proposed bill implies that a larger pool of inspectors could equate to quicker turnaround times. Currently, Morrisville has a standard to schedule inspections the following business day or within 2 business days if requested after 2 p.m. And this bill provides permit holders the option to switch between a local government inspector and a PCI with 3 days' notice, which exceeds Morrisville's current standard and current practice. As shared earlier, PCIs may certify in certain specialized trades, and that also includes fire inspection. However, bill language is vague in relation to fire protection inspections and would still require local governments to conduct the final fire inspection. Additionally, staff is concerned that without further clarity in language, there could be some unimplied liability on local governments. What I mean by that is there are some statements within the bill that local governments would be relieved of liability in certain situations, but a local government is still required to sign off on final fire inspections and is still required to issue COs, Certificate of Occupancy, for buildings that they may have never been to and have never inspected. And there is some fear that they could still be held liable by association. Staff is also concerned that PCIs, although certified, may lack practical field experience and may inspect and or approve commercial structures inappropriately. Just for some background knowledge, Morrisville inspection staff have a combined 55 years of local government inspections and 129 years of relevant construction experience as certified inspectors. As proposed, House Bill 893 would require local government inspections to assume work when or if a PCI fails to complete. However, it does not specify if, how, or when permit and inspections documents would be maintained by PCIs. As you know, local governments are held to strict document retention schedules enforced by the state. In the interest of transparency and document accessibility for permit holders, clarification is needed or some retention policy should be established for PCIs. The most critical issue identified by staff and what really gave us some pause in the need to bring this forward within HB 893 would be its impact on local governments through lost permit revenue. Permit applicants using a PCI will be required to provide a local government a payment guarantee of 125% of the total estimated cost to complete an inspection project. However, that payment guarantee would only be collected if a PCI failed to complete that project inspection. Further, HB 893 proposes that local governments would be required to reduce their permit fee schedules for projects that would be inspected by PCIs by 80%. Bless you. And then a local government would only be allowed to retain 20% of permit fees collected to cover administrative costs. We have provided some revenue, permit, and inspections data within the resolution, and I'll ask Shandy to provide some current fiscal year data to give you a more accurate picture if the bill were in place currently. And then I will offer a few final comments before we take your questions. So I'll turn it over to Shandy.
Thanks, Erin. Thanks so much, Council, for having us here tonight. Just some current data that we have for our department. With this fiscal year, currently we have brought in $1.8 million in permit revenue. Of that, 1.6 million, so 89%, is specific for commercial permits. That does not include reinspection fees, plan review fees, and associated fees with that. So it's a significant portion of our revenue that we're bringing in. Our permit numbers, we have averaged 1,200 permits being issued annually over the last 3 years. This year alone, we've issued 1,127, and 42% of those are commercial. So you can see that impact and how it would affect our workload and our inspections. We have also, for our inspections this year, the inspection numbers we've done are 8,456. 50% of that is commercial inspections, so drastically impacts our workload for our staff. And those are just some of our current numbers. I would like to add, too, that between fiscal year 18 and current, our commercial permit fees have consistently been the majority of the revenue, with it averaging 78%.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shandy. So you might be asking why this bill, why now, why the urgency? In discussion with the North Carolina League of Municipalities this week, they too have some concerns that House Bill H93 has been late to develop. So it's really sort of picked up a little bit of speed over the last few weeks, that it could move quickly, potentially clearing the House and come before the Senate literally anytime. And that could also be before the session ends. So unfortunately, they don't have a great indication as to where that stands from House or Senate leadership at this time. However, the General Assembly is likely to recess around July 4th or shortly thereafter, which is 1 week from today. This is an opportunity to be proactive and to share our concerns, potentially recommend some changes to House Bill 893 before any additional action is taken at the legislature. Morrisville delegate, House Representative Yalu, is indicated as a co-sponsor on this bill, and staff would also request that Town Council reach out to her and advocate on Morrisville's behalf. If approved, staff will provide a copy of the signed resolution to our partners at the League, to the Wake County delegation, and make sure that all of the appropriate individuals receive a copy of that. Myself and Shandy are happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I'd like to recognize Councilmember Rabati, followed by Councilmember Garamella, please.
Yeah, so
do you know what exactly is what's the stated benefit to the state, and is there any stated benefit to municipalities of this bill?
Shandy could probably answer that better. Sorry. I don't know if there is per se a direct benefit to us when we are currently staffed. We are completely staffed within our department. There are challenges, as Aaron mentioned, with recruitment for building inspectors. So this does offer an alternative for jurisdictions that may possibly be dealing with some of those hiring challenges. But for Morrisville, it will significantly reduce our revenue and our workload for our team.
So is it some kind of attempt to shore up inspection staff, and is that it? In municipalities that don't have enough staff, is that the idea? Or I don't understand what the bill is intended to do.
So there's, I'll say, sort of a collection of local government inspections related and development related bills that have been floating around this session, the last session, that have aimed at trying to streamline, quick turnaround, things of that sort. You may recall that the league actually did some outreach and research on development processes, timelines, turnarounds, things like that, essentially to illustrate to legislators that the issues they may perceive may not actually be what they think they are, as far as things taking too long to be inspected, permits taking too long to be issued. So I think there was some push and pull, perhaps between developers and legislators, and they were able to push that a little further. So some of these bills have been in response to that. And then there's just some language that, as to Shandy's point, could be really detrimental to organizations like Morrisville, where we may not have some of the same challenges that other municipalities do.
And just one more question. So as I understand the current situation, when there is a commercial property to be inspected, we send one inspector because they're certified in all the different inspections that we have to do. Is that correct?
It can be anywhere from 1 to 4. If it's a large project, we may send 4 out, divide and conquer, 1 per floor, to help facilitate it, especially as the weather gets hot. We try not to keep folks out in unair-conditioned buildings for many hours at a time, but they are required to hold a particular certification based on the building level, size, and occupancy type for that. Most of our commercial work in Morrisville is level 3, which is the highest certification you can obtain, and they are all multi-trade. They hold building, plumbing, mechanical, and electrical, and most of them hold some level of fire.
Okay. I'm sorry, you said building, plumbing, mechanical, electric, and fire?
Yes.
Okay. And so, but the PCI, as I understand it, does not have to be certified in all of those trades. Is that correct? So you could end up needing 5 inspectors.
Correct. You could need multiple PCIs. And then the question for our team as well with that is, who would manage that? So when the application comes in, how would our team know what certification does this person hold? What trade is it in? What level? Can they actually inspect this building? And are we involving multiple people into that?
Okay, so the issues with the bill, as I understand them, are the lack of oversight and accountability without oversight by the town, because we will be required to sign off on certificates of occupancy that have been inspected by inspectors we don't know, and would we be able to review their credentials, or is it, okay, so oversight and accountability without oversight. And then also the stated purpose of the bill, which is to streamline the inspection process. That you said it won't be streamlined. Their timelines are longer than ours, right?
For Morrisville specifically, it won't provide any, my words, relief. Our timelines for turnaround for inspections requests are already shorter than what they are proposing to shorten. So if I recall correctly, Shandy, you may recall as well, the Department of Insurance, is that correct, is who is managing the PCIs.
Qualifications board would be responsible, which they're under the Department of
So
Education.
they are the sort of the oversight and management entity. But again, I think some of that concern is there is language specific in the bill that if an applicant, a permanent applicant, requests a PCI, and then the final CO still has to come to the town to review and authorize and sign off, the town can't go back and re-inspect. We do not have that authority under this proposed bill. But we would be required by law to issue a CO.
Okay, yeah, I definitely see the problem there. Okay, thank you very much. I know you broke it down really well, but
I've read this bill many, many times.
Thank you.
Thank
Councilmember Garamella, followed by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson, please.
Thanks, Erin and Shandy. Like, my couple of questions. What are the other towns doing? This is not just our town issue. This is like, it's not a local bill. It's pretty much affecting every town, 540 towns and villages and cities in entire North Carolina. What are they saying? Did NCLM talk to any of them? Or, because that's my number one question, because we have a board meeting starting Thursday afternoon at Asheville. So I'll certainly bring that up. And the other question I have is, I would not even go like saying loss of revenue or loss of that. My thing is 100% accountability. You know, that's the key. You know, revenue is secondary. You know, resident safety and the standards that we set for the town is primary. And pretty much you're putting risk our fire department, which is ISO 1, by telling them, you know, go certify it, that they can't even see or even question it. And in fact, I see this as a bill that will, you can take your own sweet time in issuing CO because you're not comfortable. So actually, that will delay more than, you know, making it faster. And what's the credibility of these PCIs who could just take some more money to just push off the paperwork to get it done? So accountability for me is number one primary thing, and I would hit hard on that than revenue, you know, because this is nothing new for them. You have seen the privilege license they have taken away. They've taken away all these things. The developer association is pretty strong. The builder association is pretty strong lobby, and that's straight coming from them. So that I can see the value. What Ann is saying is the value that from a developer point of view is, how can I quickly get the project done without getting, you know, intervention from the town? You know, they'll have their standard PCIs, boom, 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 they'll get it done, and they'll give us a CO. That is what they're looking for, a faster turnaround with no accountability and safety standards set to them. So for me, it's like a big no. And that's what I would advocate that. But I want your feedback, like are the other towns, like, you ever talked to anyone in Wake County?
Yeah, so I can, I won't speak specifically for what other towns are doing. I can offer what they have shared might be their concern, their hesitation. The word anxiety was used. The town of Chapel Hill specifically was in a call recently. Also in my Wake County Legislative Liaison informal group, Fuquay Varina had some hesitation about the bill as well. No other town is taking action on this bill right now that I am aware of, but have heard some, like I said, some concerns, some hesitation from others as well.
Okay. And coming to Yalu, like, you know, did she come to us saying that she's going to do a co-sponsor for this one? Or basically you had no knowledge unless they did it? And so I think we should reach out to see why she co-sponsored something, because she was the person when she asked us if we wanted something to be put on their legislative agenda. So I think it's a feedback back from us. Or did we, even before go to this, did you guys reach out to her as to why she did a co-sponsor of it?
We have not, and I have heard from another that, you know, that probably would have been a good first step. But again, just in the essence of short on time, we've brought this before you because we would not have another opportunity to bring a resolution before town council prior to when the legislature could potentially recess. But certainly moving forward, understand the need and the step in the process to contact the representative as a co-sponsor.
Okay. Then my last question is, I'm sure, like, I don't want to talk to everyone here, but I'm sure everyone will support this from a council point of view, but how can we take this as a role model to basically lobby to other towns to also join the bandwagon, to basically not do that? That is something that we all have to work together. And from the league point of view, I will push whoever is there on their side to talk, but I think we need more of the entire Wake County delegation to come along with us. That's all. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson, followed by Councilmember Fender, please.
So from my perspective, this is a bad bill. I don't need to talk about the merits. It is bad. And Aaron did a great job. You did a great job answering Councilmember Robati's question. These are bills like this. We've seen these over the years. They're bad actor bills. It's somebody in the General Assembly has perceived a municipality as being a bad actor and not, in this case, probably not doing inspections fast enough. And so these types of bills come out of that to fix what they, again, perceive to be a bad actor, and yet it has ramifications that affects all of us. And you all did a fabulous job describing why this is really not good. So I'm not here to, I definitely support that this is not a really good bill for us or for the state of North Carolina, quite frankly. And I will agree with Councilmember Garamella, accountability is the issue. That really is the number one issue. And if we're going to be held accountable and our inspections department is going to be held accountable, then we need to be able to do the work ourselves. So that's not an issue. But I will tell you, I did not know our state representative was a co-sponsor until I went out and looked at the bill today to see where it was and to see if anything had been updated today. So, and I'm the person. Aaron didn't mention my name, but I'm the person. I mentioned to Aaron earlier. It's the process here is what I'm a little concerned about, that we didn't give our representative kind of a heads up. I don't want to blindside her, so I'm concerned about that. And it would have been good if we had, because several of us actually spoke with her last night. I would have at least given her a heads up last night, and that's my mistake. I should have known she was a co-sponsor to the bill. So that's my concern as we're talking about what to do here, as to how we are respectful to her as our state representative. And I don't know what the answer is. I'm not really thrilled, but that's here nor there, I guess.
Okay, Councilmember Fender.
Well, I was going to ask who are the other sponsors, but I've ended up looking online. I am noticing that it's a bipartisan bill, and Maria Savanier, who it seems like Yalu and Maria are close, but she's not a sponsor. But yeah, I am curious. I'm going to try reaching out to Yalu as well to see why she's a sponsor of this bill.
Yeah. We had something earlier this year where there was a bill that came with some pretty hefty sponsors, and when they learned more about it and the concerns from their constituencies, they backed off. So I think our intention here is to do the same. The timing isn't great, and she'll be alerted about the letter before she gets it, but I think it's important for us to go ahead and do the letter. I think it's important for us to use our networks. You can use the league, I can use Mayor's Association. We can let other people know that we are taking this step, and it makes it easier for them to take this step also. And that works a lot when there's pressure, when there's input from different areas. And Liz, having served on the board, knows that more than any of us, which is great. So I'm in support of going forward with this as is. I think you do a great job alerting us to all these types of things, and I really appreciate bringing this forward. One thing that we want to be able to address is how the league has been talking about how good it is that police inspections for traffic accidents and stuff, that was a win for them, being able to outsource that. So we need to be able to address, why is this bad, but that's good? Is it because we have enough police traffic scene investigators and other people don't? Something like that. So it's the whole one size fits all, I think, is the issue that the legislature always tries to push down on us. And if they're going to push this through, if we can have some kind of way that it's up to the municipality to allow it or not, that might serve the municipalities who need it. But so that's just my thoughts on where we are. So those were more comments rather than questions. I apologize, but I just wanted to share. I think everyone who wanted to share has. I'd like to recognize Councilmember Rao.
No, I think Councilmember Garamella brought up a good point. I mean, I think, just sort of getting a better idea of giving her a heads up that we're sending this letter, obviously, in touch, but why I think it's very important for our legislators to be proactive with us on bills that they're going to co-sponsor or not co-sponsor. And so, like Senator Adcock, I think, has been very good when she was even in the General Assembly to make sure she either connected with the mayor or somebody on the council. So I just think it's important to have that kind of communication with our representatives, especially if Morrisville is a big part of the district that whoever represents. So if we could find out, sort of, get on the same page, that'd be helpful moving forward.
If I may, Mayor and Council, what I could do is share some communication with Representative Liu and her legislative assistant, who we have a good working relationship with. I could do that tonight and let them know that this is a resolution that you all considered. You haven't voted yet, so I won't assume one way or the other, and that this is something that was considered, and action could be taken, and when and if that occurs, that would be coming forward. And as a co-sponsor on that bill, this is sort of the concerns that the town has, et cetera, et cetera. I'd be happy to draft something like that if that may make everyone more comfortable.
Send it to Jay Chowdhury, too. He's the Senate Majority Whip, and also Cynthia Ball. She's the minority leader of the House, because those are the important people, because they control all the seats from the Democrat side and the Republican. We have nothing to lose to send it to any one of them. This is bad for the town, and not just our town, many towns.
I want to recognize Councilmember Rabadi, who had her thing up.
I just wanted to say, I am certainly sympathetic to Mayor Pro Tem's point about, giving Yalu a heads up. But I think that if anything, that it seems like there was I'm a huge supporter of Yalu. I'm going to reach out to her about this also, but it seems to me that there's a breakdown in communication when there's a bill that's going to massively adversely affect our town. And I feel like, like when you said, you saw her last night, we could have given her a heads up. I feel like she could have given us a heads up too. Yeah. Like, that heads up should flow both ways. There aren't so many towns in that jurisdiction that, that's an onerous burden to reach out to the municipalities that are going to be effective and explain your reasoning. I feel like we got kind of blindsided by this bill. So, we're in defense mode. I do think we should definitely take steps to make sure that doesn't happen again. But, that to me is a question of improved communication channels going both ways. That's it. Thank you.
Without any further, would we be comfortable just going ahead and having me sign this letter and it going out? I think
it is a resolution, not a letter.
Resolution, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
One suggestion following up on what Councilmember Garamella said, you might consider taking out the last whereas about the loss of revenue and the fifth condition, the fifth reason, and just stand on public health and safety and the impact on the inspections process. I think that might serve you well.
You mean leaving it in might be counter of our goal of
I think those who would oppose your point of view will seize on that as your reason
Agree.
when it's really, I would say it's a very minor part of your reason, as I hear you talk about it and hear the inspection department talk about it.
I would say that fiscally, we need it in order to have an operational inspections department. I'd love to hear, I appreciate that input. Does staff have any response to whether or not the letters maybe should include that or not?
I think Frank has a great perspective on that, and I'm hearing accountability, and I agree with that 100%. That is a huge concern, and we certainly don't want that to be overshadowed by a concern of revenue loss.
Are there any other comments before we have a motion to approve this resolution deleting that whereas? Was there anything else besides deleting that whereas? And number 5. Okay. Good conversation. Thanks for bringing this forward. Now it's up to the council to decide whether or not to go forward with the resolution. I'd entertain a motion.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we approve resolution, sorry, I got to get that out. Resolution 2023-251-0 of the Morrisville Town Council opposing the House Bill 893 private commercial building inspection with 2 changes to the whereas to remove reference to the
Scroll down.
reference to the total compensation that we would in fiscal years 21 to any reference to fiscal payment, and then also in the now therefore number 5, which also references fiscal impacts. Is that clear enough? That works. Good job.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion?
Yeah. Aaron, is this like only for municipalities? Because Wake County also does inspections. The county level also, the inspection is the same rule. You know, are they going to use PCIs there too? Because on unincorporated areas, so this will affect the county, all the counties in the like 100 counties in North Carolina.
The way we read this, it would be statewide.
Statewide,
Any
exactly.
project that's a
So any
commercial project
it
would
doesn't
opt to
matter who's doing
PCI.
inspection. The counties are also involved in this, and that's it's a big loss in terms of accountability, especially in the county areas. And we should include county too, because people may not be catching that. We're narrow tunneling it to only NCLM, like, you know, or this one, take it to the county association.
Would county be considered local government, given the wording? Then it is included, since it says local governments. So I think we got that covered.
Are they tracking? Why are we the only person tracking?
Right. I think Councilmember Garamel is talking about as we're talking about outreach. It
Yes.
should be more than just
Yeah, if we say local
municipalities,
government, then
it's
automatically
counties.
Municipalities,
Yeah.
but county doesn't even come into the mind till we say like inspections.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe we'd also like to send a copy of this letter to Wake County Commissioner Chair Shanika Thomas as well as an FYI.
Okay.
Is that kind of where you're going with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone, like, you know, Durham, Johnson County Senate.
Okay. Wonderful. We have a motion and a second. Any other comment?
And just one more comment. Thank you, Aaron. If you could make sure that you email our Representative Lou and just kind of give her a heads up as a heads up can be. And that it was the expediency that is important right now. Thank you.
Yep.
Wonderful. We have a motion and a second as amended. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries 6-0 unanimously. Thank you very much to our staff for bringing this forward. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're scheduled for a break at 7:15. Kudos to the town manager. Yeah.
Can I suggest you defer your break 15 minutes to just take it into closed session?
Okay. Is that okay with everybody? I just have some things to read about future meetings, events, and community engagement opportunities. Then we'll have council comments, staff comments, and then we'll go into closed session. You've heard me say it before. I'm a big fan of the Western Wake Farmers Market. They offer healthy and fresh food and goods from small and local businesses from 8 a.m. to noon every Saturday at the Healthy Food Hub, which is located at 280 Town Hall Drive. You can also visit http:// www.fm.ag to see a complete list of local vendors and shop local. Resources for Seniors will present a seminar on thoughts on aging at the Morrisville Senior Center on Wednesday, June 28th, so that's tomorrow, from 11 a.m. until noon. The seminar will provide information and insights about key issues affecting seniors, including wealth preservation, health issues, safety, living options, socialization, and managing transitions. Presenters will candidly discuss issues that seniors are facing as they age and how and when they make these critical decisions. For more information about this program, contact Doreen Graham of Resources for Seniors, 919-249-3344. The community is invited to Cedar Fork Community Center, 1050B Town Hall Drive on Saturday, July 1st from 1 till 3 p.m. to play basketball with Morrisville police officers to help build a positive relationship between law enforcement and the community. So that's basketball with a cop. Join the town of Morrisville on Monday, July 3rd from 4 till 9 p.m. for the Family Fun Festival on Town Hall Drive between Morrisville Carpenter Road and Carolina Street. The festival will feature live entertainment, food trucks, a beer garden, family-friendly games, giveaways, craft vendors, and information tents with updates on town projects and initiatives. We'll end the celebration with a gorgeous fireworks show. Please note that the fireworks will only be visible from Town Hall Drive. Attendance is free, but bring money for the food trucks, games, and vendors. Major League Cricket has started ticket sales for America's first ever professional franchise cricket league. The games in Morrisville will take place July 20th through 25th. Morrisville's Church Street Park is one of two cricket-specific venues. The other is in Texas. They will host matches this summer. Many of the world's top cricketers will represent 6 MLC teams competing to be crowned as the inaugural season champion. Fans who want the first opportunity for the best tickets at the lowest prices for the MLC season can access them via the pre-sale window now open. Priority access for tickets can be secured at majorleaguecricket.com/tickets. Last item, registration is now open for fall sports programming offered by the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Department, including developmental baseball, developmental softball, and recreational girls volleyball. Players will enjoy 2 activities per week from August to October. The developmental baseball and softball programs are designed to prepare players for the spring Little League season. Baseball programs are available for kids ages 5 to 12. Softball is available for kids ages 8 to 12. And volleyball is available for girls ages 7 through 15. Registration is available online or in person at any of the town's park and recreation offices, including the Cedar Fork Community Center or the Morrisville Aquatics and Fitness Center. For a full listing of events, please see the town calendar at www.townofmorrisville.org or sign up online for our Next Week in Morrisville weekly email, which is sent out every Friday. At this time, we're at council comments, and I will begin, followed by Councilmember Rabati. I just want to give a brief thank you to Congresswoman Deborah Ross, who took time out of her busy schedule to have a town hall here in this room just last night. There was great turnout and engagement with our residents and businesses community. I want to say congratulations to Michael, Robbie, Dan, Joel, and the whole Azure team for their grand opening today and the old Sam's Club. They are saving the world while having fun. And I'd like to say that I hope to see everyone next Monday for our 3rd of July celebration. I'd like to recognize Councilmember Rabati, followed by Councilmember Fender.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to say that I was sorry to have missed the opportunity to meet with Deborah Ross, and I look forward to meeting with her on Friday. I'd also like to say that since our last meeting, I've attended Pride festivals at in both Fuquay Arena and in Raleigh. The Raleigh one I attended with my daughter and her wife, and I was thrilled to be able to attend both of those celebrations. And I'm thrilled that I live in a place where inclusion and diversity and attempts at equity are the norm. Thank you.
Very nice. Councilmember Fender, followed by Councilmember Rao.
I don't have any comments, Mayor.
Councilmember Rao, followed by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
One administrative is I've been getting some emails about the intersection at Davis Drive away from Grace Park, just people complaining about what can be done to make it safer. So I just want to throw it out there. I've gotten a couple of emails about that. I know that we have to sometimes talk to DOT. It's the flashing yellow light. I know Councilmember Garamella has talked about this in the past. Just a lot of people concerned about the blind spot with the traffic coming down. So I just want to throw that out there. Both of my remarks the mayor made, two out of my 3 remarks. So I just want to spend the remainder my remarks just for a minute to say that this week I had the honor of attending some of the events in Washington, D.C. for the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit. And for people listening online, it was just a really great experience to be there. There were 3 events I attended: the arrival ceremony at the White House, the address to the Congress, and the final event at the Kennedy Center, the We the People celebration, which was hosted by John T. Chambers, the former CEO of Cisco, and the U.S.-India Partnership Forum, Strategic Forum. And it was really great. I mean, they talked about trade, investment, startup ecosystem, energy, areas in the relationship that are concerning to some in terms of free speech and human rights issues going on in India and energy. But the funniest moment for me, not really funny, was that when the Prime Minister spoke about the Indian diaspora, he said that the communities they can do a lot more than just win spelling bees in the U.S. And he was just so proud of the great work that our community's done. So I thought of Councilmember Garamella. I thought of all of the immigrants from the great nation of India who live in Morrisville and Cary. And I think that there's a great opportunity for John Chambers said that he does predict India's economy to eventually become the #1 economy in the world. And I think that I got to speak with him for a few minutes at the reception. And what John was saying was that there's a really great opportunity for our state to get more Indian investment, creating lots of jobs, opportunities to trade into an economy that's 65% under the age of 26. So hopefully that this visit will, help our state forge even better relationships with India. And but anyway, I just wanted to share those comments with the public tonight. It was a great event, and glad I got to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Johnson, followed by Councilmember Garamella.
So, Martha, I just have one request. The July 3rd fireworks event that's coming up was well received last year. It was a fabulous event. Fireworks were great. Everything was wonderful. The only complaint I heard from folks was that they did not realize they could not access our event from the northern part of Town Hall Drive up by Carolina and Scoggins. So that's really not clear even this year. We think, same folks will come back again, but there'll be new folks this year too. So there's one small line on a post on Facebook about you have to access the event from Morrisville Carpenter, but I don't see anything on our website. So if we could really make that clear to folks, and then and tied in with that, will folks be able to walk back home at the end of the event? Because there was confusion last year too. Still, folks were not allowed to walk up Town Hall Drive because of where the fireworks display was. So if we, again, just make that really clear on, not everybody's on social media, but sometimes we think everybody's out there. But if we could put it on the website too, I think hopefully we'll get most people the detailed information they need. Thank you.
Councilmember Garamella.
Yes, I'll take the rest of it half an hour.
Sure, we got time.
I want to start with echoing what Steve said. I didn't get the opportunity to go. I had a surgery last Monday, but I had 4 invites to go, but it was really nice. The one thing which I really see an impact to our community as Morrisville as a whole is the collaboration between the U.S. government and the Indian government regarding the visas and especially the immigration. When a person comes on H-1B to get a renewal, they have to leave the country and come back in. And because of the COVID, the backlogs were so much in several months. And if they didn't get it, they're stuck. Their properties were gone. Now with all these new things, with the new MOU that they're signing, they don't even have to leave the country. They can be educated at where they are. So that is kind of a win-win for our community as a whole, because we have 47%. And the people who are coming with visas, they are safe. They don't have to fear that they're leaving. Will they get their visa stamped? If not, they have to sell the house from overseas. So that I thought was a very good. And plus, it's not just India. India is the amount of contracts that the U.S. government made is India ordered close to 700, if not, I think 500 to 700 planes from Boeing, and that's several $100 billion of revenue that will be generating to the towns and the states that those businesses are. In fact, North Carolina is like a lot of the parts are manufactured here that will be used as the economy boost. But last but not the least, I want to wish everyone a happy July 4th. Everyone is waiting for the fireworks, and my neighbors are already, the flags. I hope our police is a little lenient on us, for all the fireworks. I'm just saying that, but it is a festive occasion. I'm looking forward for it.
Okay. Town Manager Page, anything from staff this evening? Okay. Excellent. At this point, we have one closed session this evening to discuss matters relating to economic development. As we have no plans for additional public business after the closed session, I'd like to thank you all for watching this meeting of the Morrisville Town Council. We hope you plan to join us again. Please feel free to email your town council members at towncouncil@townofmorrisville.org or visit www.townofmorrisville.org/council for additional contact information. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to enter closed session.
Mayor, I'll move us into closed session if that's okay.
Yes, please.
Pursuant to North Carolina Statute 143.318.11A4, I move that we go into closed session to discuss an economic development matter.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of entering closed session, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that carries unanimously 6-0. It's 7:27. We're now in closed session. Going to go ahead and ask, is it real quick or should we?